Hey guys, I am here today with these. This is the Audi Q4 e-tron versus the Tesla Model Y. Let's get into it. Okay, so one thing to note is that this is the 2024 Q4 55 e-tron, which is a mid-year refresh. So Audi refreshed this vehicle so it could be a little bit more competitive against this vehicle. I'll get into what that means in a minute. Okay, so on some level, the Tesla Model Y really needs no introduction, right? At one point, it was the best-selling EV in the world. It's the best-selling EV in the country. Certainly here in California, it's a bestseller. This actually is my own personal vehicle. Yeah, I own this car, which you may think that would make me biased, but I didn't say I like this car. But there are a lot of things that the Model Y does better than the Q4 e-tron, but there's things that make me crazy about this car that they've tackled in the Audi. I'll get to that in a minute. So in terms of the interior, there are so many wonderful things about the Model Y, right? Just first of all, it's simplicity. We've just got this one screen. We have no dash. There are just two buttons here. Everything is very well laid out and very beautiful, right? Clean and simple. Problem with that is that means everything you do, essentially, you have to do on this screen. There's a little bit of things that you can do with these buttons, but I find myself taking my eyes off the road a lot to navigate this screen, which isn't really the best thing in the world. There's no Apple CarPlay. This is a fixed roof, and sometimes these touch points get a little cheap, especially like I have a little rip here in the upholstery. This car is only a year old. That makes me crazy. So the Q4 e-tron has a different setup than the Tesla Model Y. Instead of having the one vertical screen, we've got a digital dash as well as this touch screen. We've got a few more buttons here and lots more buttons here. To some, that may make the interior look a little bit more messy, but to be honest, it's a lot more intuitive. So if I want to turn on the seat warmer, it's just one button here. I don't have to navigate through there. Or volume, for example, has a few different ways to do that. You can do that here. You can also do it on a button here or on the screen. There are a lot of redundancies, but some people may find that works a lot better. Most notably to me is Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, hallelujah, and a sunroof. Yay, fantastic. There is a little less storage in the driver's area in the Q4 e-tron versus the Model Y. So we've just got one place to store stuff in here, and there are slots in here, but no compartment the way the Model Y has one. But the charging pad is vertical here on the e-tron, where it's a charging pad in the Tesla Model Y. I found this to be much more reliable than the charging pad in my Tesla. Do you own a Tesla Model Y? Do you miss Apple CarPlay? Do you wish you had it? Let me know in the comments. In terms of the drive, the acceleration on this car is exceptional. Boy, it's so much fun to go off the line and smoke whoever's next to you. I really get a kick out of that. The drive modes, you can't really do on the fly. You can set them up in your profile. So that is, you either like that or hate that. And you can't adjust the regenerative braking on the fly. The seats are very comfortable. The visibility is fantastic in this car. I also like the fact that there are lots of places to store things. And after you store things, it's clean and simple. Okay, so let's talk about the drive in the Q4 e-tron. So again, this is the mid-year refresh. So it's the Q4 e-tron 55. So in that refresh, they did two things. They increased the horsepower by, I think, 49 horsepower, which makes the 0 to 60 time a little faster than the Model Y, which is interesting. Also, they increased the efficiency in the charging. So it charges in about the same amount of time as the Model Y. One thing to think about is the range in the Q4 e-tron is still lower than it is in the Model Y. So if that's important to you, you want to consider that. So in terms of the drive itself, listen, this drives like a German car. I sort of like that. It is very responsive. The steering was exceptionally precise. The braking was fantastic. I really liked how I felt the road a lot. That was great. But more importantly, when I would go around turns in this vehicle against the Model Y, there was a lot less body roll. So I really liked that. Although the acceleration is the same, the numbers are the same, in fact, a little better in the Q4 e-tron, the Tesla Model Y feels a little bit more aggressive. It's also worth noting that while the Q4 e-tron has adaptive cruise control, it does not have the self-driving feature that the Tesla Model Y has, which you're going to pay extra for. Okay, in terms of headroom and legroom, the Q4 e-tron and the Tesla Model Y are comparable. Here in the back seat, as well as the front seat actually. And both, for the size of the vehicles, feel really large on the inside. I love that. The back seat in the Tesla Model Y can make a person feel very car sick. I think that's because this car is just way too stiff, way too rigid. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Plus these back seats aren't tremendously comfortable. Okay, so backseat of the e-tron versus the Model Y. Listen, I'd much rather sit back here. These are much more comfortable. You can't really see me because of this thing here, but I've got a little window so it doesn't feel claustrophobic, which is great. We do have a big sunroof, which is nice. The middle seat actually kind of exists in this car, which isn't true for the Tesla Model Y. And we can control our air back here, which isn't true in the Model Y. So one of the places that the Tesla has the clear advantage is in cargo room. There's just simply more room in the Model Y. However, the Q4 e-tron is taller. It's a true SUV, so it's a little easier to load things in and out if you've got heavy groceries and stuff like that. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, so let's talk about price. So although the MSRP are about the same, they both have a lot of upgrades that are going to get you above the MSRP very quickly. For example, this has the Prestige package, which includes stuff like the beautiful Sonos sound system, which blows this thing away, traffic sign recognition, as well as some of the steering wheel warmer. That stuff is great, but that adds $7,000 to this. But Tesla is no stranger to add-ons. So again, both of these are going to end up, being over $60,000 very quickly. The real difference here is that the Tesla is made in America. The Q4 e-tron is made in Germany. So that means that this qualifies for the federal tax incentives, and the Q4 does not. However, a lot of people fail to consider the fact that you have to be below a certain income threshold to meet those federal tax incentives. So before you go buying a Tesla, talk to your tax advisor to be sure that you actually qualify for those incentives. All right, so what's the verdict? I mean, listen, it's not that simple, guys. So one of the reasons I bought the Model Y was for the charging network, right? It's everywhere. Well, now they've opened that up to everyone, not to everyone, but there are a lot of other vehicles, a lot of other manufacturers that are able to use the Tesla charging network now. The primary charging network for the Q4 is Electrify America, which traditionally hasn't always been the most reliable network. So that's something to keep in mind. The simplicity of the Model Y is great. For a lot of you, you're gonna love the self-driving feature, and for some of you, you're gonna want that terrible third row that they offer. That might be a thing. In terms of the Q4 e-tron, the things I loved about it, I love that turning radius, so much better than this vehicle. I also thought it was more luxurious, frankly. I love Apple CarPlay, and I love that sunroof, which just isn't available in the Model Y. So, which car is right for you? I can't answer that question, but I hope I've given you enough information to make a qualified decision. Thanks so much for watching. So there you have it. I'm Motorhead Mama. Thanks so much for watching, and please press that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.